Hello, welcome everyone. We're just waiting for a few more minutes for some people to join in, and then we can start with our webinar today on the exciting career opportunities in media and entertainment industry post COVID-19. Just a few more minutes and we'll begin with the webinar. So we have a lot of people joined in. Let's begin. I think we are ready on time. We have our participants over here. So I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. As I said earlier, it is about exciting career opportunities in media and entertainment and post COVID-19. So as we all know that COVID-19, this has hit all the working sectors around the world with varying effects though. But then now the world is needing to adjust with this new normal and has started adapting changes. So today's webinar here will speak about, will give you right insights and information about media and entertainment industry. And my
Hello, I think we lost Diksha there. I think her internet disconnect. Anyways, very good morning, everyone, and welcome to this seminar on careers in the media and entertainment industry post COVID-19. I welcome everybody, all the participants who are here, and also I'd like to welcome Sameer Talwalkar, who's a creative producer and also the head of department at filmmaking at Seamedu. Sameer professionally is a creative producer with over 18 years of experience in the media and entertainment field. He has produced feature films, fiction, non-fiction, television, and specializes in advertising. He's worked with has worked extensively in Australia, India, Singapore, and Sri Lanka, and produced more than 200 adult films, 6 feature films, and output more than 1,000 hours of television programs. So I think we've worked with Sameer closely for as long as 10 years, and he's helped Seamedu and Toolbox produce some fantastic ad films. And today he's here. He's just joined us. Before this, he was in Singapore producing a television ad, and in fact, he was stuck in Singapore for more than 2 months because of the lockdown. So I think Sameer is going to bring in some wonderful insights into what the life is going to be once these lockdowns start, opening up. We've also got some fantastic panelists on board. We've got Mansi Raut, who heads the photography department at Seamedu. We've got Hemant Raute. He heads the journalism department at Seamedu. We've got Puneet Samtani. He takes care of sound engineering and music production department at Seamedu. We've got Anirudh Zovekar. He takes care of the game and animation department and visual effects at Seamedu. We've got Varsha Ghodke and Diksha, who will also be who take care of the student success team at Seamedu. So we all together will be here to help or answer any of the questions that you guys have regarding the career or the industry post COVID-19. Before we get started, I think there are two simple rules. Please make sure everybody is on mute. Uh, your, you know, if you have any questions, please put them on the Q&A section. All right. And I think, Samir, are you around? Are you audible?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Awesome, Samir. So you can take over.
Yeah.
And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Deep. Thank you, Dilip, for the wonderful introduction. And hello, everyone. Here at Seamedu, we welcome everyone to this webinar. So what we are going to discuss is the COVID reality. As you know, COVID-19 has set in and a lot of people are affected by it. Our economy is affected by it, which means that even education, every sector is basically affected by the economy. And we can no longer be in denial. We have to adjust to the new reality. And we at Seamedu, we are educators and we are also people who are actively working in the respective industries. So we have put some thoughts together and we thought we'll share it with you. And then afterwards, we'll have a conversation with you on it. So whatever insights we have put in this presentation. So as you know, COVID has affected many sectors and a lot of you must be experiencing that firsthand. Like travel, food, real estate. I mean, we are not able to travel as we used to before. We're not able to go out to restaurants and have our favorite food. Real estate, obviously, because the economy is hit, we can no longer, take decisions in buying real estate and related to that. Obviously finance, events, we can no longer go to our favorite concerts, unfortunately. And because the economy is hit, we have to take a few decisions, cut back on expenses and everything. So that's the reality of COVID, which unfortunately has presented ourselves in 2020. Which basically translates to someone who wants to start their career and looking for educational opportunities, that these sectors are probably slightly risky at this time because these sectors are also adapting to the new COVID reality. So, pursuing your career in these sectors, it might take a couple of years for these sectors to come back on track. That's the presumption. Now, the natural question comes that, is there a positive hope? Is there a sector which is least affected by it? And there is, and thankfully it is the media and entertainment industry. It's least affected by COVID, although it is affected in some way and people have found ways to work around it. I'm not going to bore you with statistics in this presentation, but it's important for me to mention this to get a perspective that in 2019, the industry grew at 11.5%. That's almost double than our national economy. So we're really the torchbearers of, pushing the economy forward. Sound, VFX, gaming, and animation, they have already adapted to the remote style of working, and film and photography are adapting to the remote style of working as well. Now, remote style of working is something which we will discuss as we go forward. Now, again, another natural question is, why is media and entertainment the least affected? And the reason being that people are consuming more content sitting at home. I mean, ask yourself whether how much you have binge watched shows or listened to music or seen online concerts, and you'll probably find the answer that you have probably consumed a lot more than you used to, simply because you're home and you have the time and you want to feel at peace. Online gaming, animation, radio, films, web series, short films, YouTube videos. I mean, these are some of the things which give us comfort, especially when there's a lot of issues going around. And as per the survey, the demand for this kind of content has gone up almost by 6 times. So which is a huge surge. Now, just to put a historical perspective to this, I mean, whenever there's a social crisis, the population always falls back on artists and their creations to get through difficult times, which is why countries or cultures that have gone through struggles have always produced some of the most creative works. Now, if you look at our own country, I mean, we constantly go through struggles. I mean, unstable governments and unstable economy, or if you go back in history, we had the partition. But also, if you observe parallelly, in parallel, there is a line of artists which produce great works, because the public and the population needs to feel happy, needs something to digest, and art and artists are basically the key players in this kind of era. And this COVID-19 era is no different. I mean, we are going through an unprecedented crisis, and as you can see, we are taking recourse to material online. We are seeing our favorite series. We are searching for new content. We're listening to new music. So there you go. It's a proof that that artists and their creations really help through difficult times. And there is an opportunity in this, obviously, for artists who are out there, who want to start their careers, and they're not sure how to go about it. And the opportunity is that for the first time, the consumption of content is faster than the production of content. Now, ask yourself, how much have you binge watched? It usually takes one season of a series about a year, if not more, to get produced. But we can watch it in less than a week, or some people can do it in a day. So obviously, because of COVID, everyone is at home and people are consuming more. So there's a lot of shortage of content, and all the OTT platforms, like all the Netflixes and Z5s and everyone, are really scrambling to get new content on board. I mean, it doesn't help that COVID shut down all productions from March to May. There was absolutely no shooting which happened anywhere in the world. I was myself stuck in Singapore at that time with the production happening across 3 countries of UK, Philippines, and Indonesia. And it was really a tough time. So, which is why content didn't get produced that much, and people started searching for all these hidden gems, and for channels and OTT platforms and producers, inventory became very important. People started seeing Korean films, Chinese films, or French films, and something which we haven't seen before. So the opportunity, it wouldn't have happened in any other case. Now, also it's an opportunity for creators and content creators to collaborate creatively in a remote fashion, and find innovative methods and techniques for production. Now, there are a lot of other sectors as well, like within media and entertainment, like animation, VFX, and games, which take longer to produce. So if something which takes longer to produce, and if there is a surge in demand of it, what happens is then people set up newer and newer studios, and they start producing content in parallel because they want to meet the demand. It's as simple as that. And sound and music production. I mean, this is a sector which is least affected, because anyone who's a budding sound designer or a musician would know that the first thing you do is you set up a home studio. And this is what we in fact did. And the sound engineering department at Seamedu would be able to speak more about this. But we helped students set up remote studios at their home, and made sure that they keep on producing their work of art, keep on producing their assignments and submitting them. And in fact, we have realized that students have actually become more productive in this environment. So we said, why not take this opportunity and grow it into something really profound? Now, we know what the situation is, we know what the opportunity is, but how to go about it? That's always the question. We can dream up a lot of things, mujhe ye karna hai, wo karna hai, but then how does the actual delivery, how do you actually execute it? So, in film and photography productions, remote shoots are already happening. Now I'll give you a personal example. I was producing a 3-ad campaign, for 3 film ad campaign for a client called Unilever in Singapore. And I was there, and we had to shoot in Manchester, which is in UK, in Manila, in Philippines, and in Jakarta, in Indonesia. So we made all the plans, we booked all the tickets, and then there was a no-fly policy. So we couldn't go. So we used a system called QTake, which basically is an app, and it lets you even direct a film remotely. So if the director is sitting in Australia and the shoot is happening in England, that director can be Q-taped onto set, and he can do all the things which he can do being on set. Not 100%, at least up to 90 or 95%. And then we found a way to do it, and we made those 3 films. So it's possible, and it's happening in game animation everywhere. Social distancing norms are maintained during productions. I will get to this point again. I'll touch upon this point again, because it also speaks about how you have to make yourself a multitasker, because there are going to be lesser number of people on sets, or even in animation studios, or even in game studios. And how do you make yourself more and more useful in this kind of scenario? Again, as I said earlier, game animation, VFX, and music content is already produced remotely with the help of technology. Everyone is, on the ball. They are communicating. In fact, again, this is again the observation of our VFX animation and game department, and they will speak during the Q&A of how the productivity has actually gone up, because there's lesser distractions. Technology is easily accessible as compared to before. Artists and producers across moving image, gaming, animation, VFX, sound, and music industries have the right tools at their fingertips through which they are collaborating and creating content remotely. So, people have realized that creativity is always there. Creativity is always the king. But before, we had to physically go to a film school or a music school and then hone your craft. Now, you have the tools at your fingertips. So, and most of you who are, 18 years old, in 12, just past 12, you already have all the gadgets, which at my time, when I was 18, we didn't have that. We didn't have Android phones or anything like that. So you're already technologically savvy, and which means that you're already one step ahead of where we were at our time. So, in short, remote working has given artists and producers the freedom to work independently without distractions. I'll share this experience as well, that most of my times going into meetings, I travel for 1 hour, and then the meeting doesn't start on time. And then when the meeting starts, half of my day is gone. But now I do all the meetings online. I do all my script sessions online. And I realized that, oh, it's just 5 o'clock. I have, the rest of the day, I can do whatever I want. And hence the productivity and creativity has in fact increased. So it's really a boon to the entire media industry that we are in this situation. Obviously, it's a tough situation where a lot of people are affected. So I'm not talking about that part, but we can turn and leverage this situation to our advantage and produce great work. So how do you go about it? How do you position yourself in the industry? That's another next natural question which comes to mind. You have to choose the right profession, basically. We spoke about the sectors which are affected by it. If you have a passion in it, well and good, but M&E sector, if anyone's interested in that, we are the least affected by it. And, so maybe a profession in that field might be a good choice. You have to leverage remote working. So, which in Seamedu, we have this concept called blended learning, which basically means that you have to basically arm yourself in a way that you can work remotely on a project anywhere in the world. And which is what we are exactly replicating into our syllabus and into our delivery methods, that we get students up to the level of where they can either work in a physical environment or they can work remotely. And because we have ourselves worked in these kind of situations, we feel we are the right people to deliver that kind of knowledge. Keep up to date with technology. I think there's no worries here. You all of you must be already, you're on Zoom listening to this. You already know how to operate all the gadgets. So you're halfway there. As long as the tools are concerned, our faculties are the best people to teach you those tools. And be innovative. That's probably the most generic statement, but it's so true that in every era, if you get comfortable with doing the things that they were before, and not updating yourself, you will see yourself being naturally sidelined easily, which is why you have to keep innovating. You have to always think that, nothing is permanent, and this app or whatever program you're using is always going to be updated, and you have to keep yourself updated all the time with the support of creativity. I mean, unless you develop that creative muscle, all the technology probably will just be gadgets. So how do you go about it? Simple. Again, you have to choose the right training ground. As I said, you find research into colleges and institutions which have adapted to blended learning. Uh, physical classrooms and as well as remote classrooms. And the reason why we at Seamedu came up with the blended learning format is basically because of health issues. I mean, we really care about health of our students. We want everyone to be healthy, but at the same time, we don't want them to stop learning. So, which is why this is a innovation from Seamedu's side, where we can do a lot of learning virtually, and then for the practicals, when they have to actually come in to the facility, we make sure everything is sanitized and there's social distancing. And we have put a lot of thought into it. Check the background of teachers. That's very important. Have all the teachers worked in the industry. It's very important that they are in touch with the industry, because then they will be able to teach you the new trends. They'll be able to experiment with you about the new trends. And that's very important. They will give you a very practical perspective, because, theory can only teach you this much. In the end, you have to go and actually exercise on the equipment and all the gadgets. And also check what kind of support they provide you for placements. Obviously, when it comes to placements, it's as much on the institution as it is on you. How you develop yourself, how you make yourself useful, how much proactive you are. That's really important, because it's not just the placement managers at the institute, it's the people who are hiring you. They see that. They will prefer a person who has less knowledge but is willing to do a lot of things, as opposed to a person who has a lot of theory in their brains, and they're basically weighed down by it and they don't do anything about it. So just be proactive and and be innovative. Again, challenges can be overcome through innovation. We have spoken about innovation a lot, but you'll actually put that in practice once you start learning. And we at Seamedu encourage that a lot. So thank you very much again for listening to me. I tried to share as many thoughts as possible. Again, these are just not my thoughts, but we at the panel which is present here, they've all shared their thoughts. They've all given their insights. They've worked for years in the industry. And I hope I've done justice, and I hope I've made it simple for you to understand. So we can throw it open for question and answers, and please ask away.
So thank you, Samir. That was quite informative, quite informational. We've already started getting up questions. Let us start with the first question that we have here. It's about the filmmaking industry. So one of our students wants to know that how has COVID-19 affected the filmmaking industry? What are the consequences now and how things work there?
Sure, I can answer that. See, as I mentioned, that productions were really shut down between March to May. So, so there was no physical production. That's number one. But when the productions actually started in Maharashtra, they have started, and also in Thailand, they have started. Now, what the major point is that there's lesser number of crew. So when I did the ad campaign for Unilever out of Singapore, we originally had a 200 people crew across 3 countries. We reduced it down to 50. So, it has certainly affected, because you can't have so many people on the set, which means that people have to be they have to multitask. They have to have multiple skill sets. So as a professional, if you're entering into the industry, just ensure that you have working knowledge of say being an AD, operating the camera, of sound, of lighting, and that'll help. Not that you will play all those roles, but it's very important to be useful in that kind of situation.
All right. Thank you so much. There's another question coming up. It's about wildlife filmmaking. So one of the candidates is interested into wildlife filmmaking. He wants to understand what would be the steps that he should take forward towards wildlife filmmaking, and is it right?
Okay. Well, you see, in wildlife filmmaking, essentially go and start shooting either stills or videos of wildlife. I mean, you basically have to travel. And once you travel a lot and you have these kind of videos, films, or photographs, then you can actually start sending it to production houses and start sending it to, start your own YouTube channel. You no longer have to wait for an approval of a senior documentary or wildlife filmmaker. You can just upload it and monetize it, leverage it, and people can see it. So, and in terms of COVID, I mean, what better place to be in isolation than to be in wildlife? So it's fantastic. I mean, this is your chance. Just travel, go shoot. You have your Android phone. That's all you need as of now. Or if you have an access to a DSLR, a camera, or long lens or something, just go and shoot it. That's it. In terms of if you have drones or if you have any other equipment, you can always shoot that. Watch a lot of documentary films. I should also mention that watching films and making films is different. So practice as much as possible.
All right. Thank you, Sameer. And there's another very interesting question coming up, and it says, does Seamedu make game developers industry ready, and how? Game developers.
Hello. Yeah, I would like to answer that question. So we have crafted our core curriculum such a way that it is an output oriented. So basically what that mean is we focus more on creating output out of our lectures, right? So we do a lot of team projects and we do a lot of game creation itself in the since the second semester onwards. So by the end of your whole course, you will have enough games on your portfolio or enough projects on your portfolio, and the way you work in the Seamedu environment is exactly replicated how you work in the industry. So you will know what language they use. You know if senior is telling you something, what he is talking about. So by creating that environment of studio, we give you the experience of the industry itself. So that's how we make sure that students are ready for the industry when they leave Seamedu, right? So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anirudh. We can take up another question, which is about cinematography and portrait photography. So the candidate wants to understand that what is the future or career in either cinematography or portrait photography. He's interested into both, by the way. Can we please guide him?
Mansi, do you mind answering that question?
Yeah, so regarding portrait photography, I mean, to do any of these courses that we offer, we need to have students who have passion for it. So I think he's confused between cinematography and photography. They're two different ways of, I mean, one you do moving, which is cinematography, and one you do still photography. So if he know what is his calling for, is it the still images or the moving images? I think he can make a better choice then. Sabir, you want to like add up to the cinematography bit?
Yeah. See, look, in terms of cinematography, you can start with photography because the fundamentals, even though as Mansi rightly said, there are two different disciplines, but their fundamentals are in the same place. So you can always start with photography, learn the fundamentals, and then move on to cinematography. terms of cinematography, there is it's always a project-based industry. So the more you shoot, the more people will know about your work, and you will start getting work. I mean, in fact, we just had a seminar, a webinar a week ago where we had the Seamedu alumni speak about their experience, and everyone, cinematographers, some cinematographers have become photographers, and some photographers have become cinematographers. So for them, I think the work is just increasing more and more.
Sure. Thank you, Sameer. One of our candidates, one of the attendees wants to know about the blended learning course that you just mentioned some time before. Can you please elaborate on that?
Sure, I'll take that. So since the time we went into lockdown, it took us exactly 5 to 6 days to make sure that whatever the curriculum was pending, we went online, and we ensured that all the curriculum that is pending for university programs or even the diploma programs are being covered with whatever is possible through online. And obviously the projects that were supposed to be done, we made sure that the students got the technology and completed the projects from their own home. Nobody had to come to the campus, and everybody was working remotely. Now this basically gave us an idea of making our curriculum or redesigning our curriculum in such a way where students don't exactly have to come to the campus and be in a classroom to learn what they are learning. Students can easily be at their home, and the faculty will come online and deliver the content that was earlier being done in classrooms. And after that, the faculty does provide some projects or practice sessions that the students have to do it from their own workstations, and then they have to send their projects for review, and the faculty then again comes online and does the mentoring sessions for the students. So during this time, especially during the lockdown time, the students got to interact with faculties from all the centers that Seamedu has. So I think while the lockdown is bad outside, it did give a lot of opportunity to students and to faculties to interact with each other. Faculties in Pune had to earlier travel to Bangalore to take some sessions, but here we could easily alternate between a faculty in Pune and a faculty in Bangalore. So depending upon who's quite skill set to handle a particular topic, would just come online, take the session, and thankfully, because the technology partners that we have across all our programs, be it game development, sound engineering, photography, companies like Adobe, Ableton, Unity, all these companies started giving out tools that the students can download and start using it. So the cost of setting up your own systems at home was not very expensive. And this also helped the students. This basically gave the students a lot of confidence that they can create content right out of their bedroom, which is going to be very unique and very important in the time up ahead. So I hope I answered the blended.
All right.
And
Thank you
we're
so
also
much.
in the process of launching a proper ecosystem, a learning ecosystem, which we call it seamless blended learning. So anybody who's interested in that can stay tuned for more updates on our social media website and on our website.
Sure. Thank you so much. We have another question coming up from a student who says that she plays a lot of games, but she's not very sure to start her career in gaming industry because she's not good at maths. So how important is maths in game programming? And we have another question on game programming again. So there are a lot of people interested into game programming. Can we quickly have these questions answered?
Okay. So there are basically two different things, right? If you like to play games or if you like to enjoy games, basically playing game can be a career option also. It is more into YouTube channel or streaming methodology, right? And enjoying game and then wanted to create your own game is the game development side of it, right? So we can cover both. I will go with the game development side. So game development itself has been divided into three sections, and the three sections are basically designing a game, programming a game and creating art for a game. So, if you are interested in games itself and creating games, and if you want to enter in game design or game art section, then you don't really need mathematics. Right? Mathematics is something that is required for developers, programmers, and that is also very high level stuff. Right? Nowadays, there are game engines. There are very powerful game engines which does not really need you to do any mathematical equation. The engine does it for you. So I will not really discourage anyone that like if you don't like maths or if you don't know maths, it's okay. Game development have plenty of space for you also. You can go in designing or you can go in level designing. You can go even story writing for the game. So there are a lot of opportunities in that. If you like to play games, then there are a lot of streaming methods. Now Facebook do games live. YouTube have their streaming methods since long time now. Twitch is there, Discord is there. And if you play games and if you play variety of games and you are good at it, then you should definitely start your own channel and start with the small games. Don't go for the big games like PUBG or stuff. First, try to find your viewers, like a small group of viewers, and then expand your game title. So yeah, both ways, the game development industry is right now going upwards. We are with all this COVID situation, everyone is at home, and when you are at home, you either start your Netflix channel and watch something, or you just start playing games, right? So gaming industry is booming right now, and there is a lot of requirement currently around. So yeah, this is a chance if you want to enter in this industry. So
Thank you, Anirudh.
that's
I
all.
hope the questions about gaming industry have been answered. We have a question about music industry. So one of the candidates is asking about music industry. He says that he is looking for music production and he wants to take his tracks to industry level quality. So can he do that? Can he achieve that if he does a sound designing or a sound engineering diploma with Seamedu?
Yeah, most definitely. See, the thing is, we'll give you all the knowledge and the know-how about how to go about doing it. But eventually, it comes down to you executing it and doing it properly. So definitely, we are a bunch of people who have worked in the industry and who are still working in the industry. So by being around us and studying with us and doing all the projects which we roll out and all the extracurricular activity. We have a lot of outsiders who are specialists in the industry to come and do workshops with us. And now in the last 3 months, we've done a lot of webinars from industry professionals as well. So not only directly from your faculty members, but we basically connect the dots and connect you to the industry professionals as well. So you get to hear from the horse's mouth directly. And then rest of it is just up to your dedication and your passion and how you're going to take it further. So yeah, you'll get the knowledge, but it's you who will have to do the work as well.
All right. Thank you, Puneet. This is an interesting question that has come up. It is about MBA in media and entertainment industry and what are the opportunities here? Can we quickly have that question answered, please?
There are two options after doing graduation. One can go for MBA. The other option is go for project-based PGDM course. So we have these two courses, production management and marketing management. So if you are really interested in media as well as management, and if you want to start your career at a managerial level in media, you can choose any of these courses depending on your interest and priorities.
Sure. Thank you, Sagar sir. So as we're already running out of time, I'm afraid I cannot take more questions of yours, but then definitely we want to answer all the questions that you have in your mind, maybe before that you asked before the webinar or now the questions that come into your mind. So what I can do is we are providing you an email address below in the chat section. Please do copy down the email address and you can post all your questions, all your queries in that. And we would definitely get our experts to help you out with your questions, answers, and to get your queries solved. You can alternatively Also provide your own phone number, your contact details, so that any of our team members can get in touch with you to explain you better about media and entertainment industry. So thank you all the attendees. You've been a sincere audience, a lovely audience. I would like to thank all our panelists to help us guide, during this COVID-19 situation, and especially how it is affecting the media industry. I hope all the questions that you had in your mind, at least few of them were answered, and that would help you take a step ahead in media and entertainment industry. Thank you so much. Good luck. Stay home. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.